A rule violation occurs when one of the scheduling policy work rules is violated. Rule violations will usually occur as a result of manual scheduling, but not always, as we will see in the examples in this video. Examples of rule violations include: a vehicle is mismatched, such as a wheel lift vehicle, for a flatbed tow call. Or, service appointments overlap absences. Let's look at some of the rule violations that may occur. Before we get started, for this example, the filter will be on the to-do, AAA custom filter. In this example, we want to manually reassign a tow call from driver number 3, a flatbed, to driver number 4, a wheel lift. First, we have to provide a reason why we want to move the service appointment. Remember, you can't move an appointment without first providing a reason why. We'll right-click on the service appointment on the Gantt chart. Select Change Service Appointment. Click to select the reason for the manual override. We'll select Move to Available Driver for faster response time. We'll save appointment. Now that we have provided the reason why we want to move the service appointment, let's go ahead and move the tow appointment. When moving an appointment, always drag the appointment to the earliest possible start time. Notice, the rule violation symbol has been added to the service appointment on the Gantt chart. And, the service appointment has appeared in the exception panel, in yellow, indicating a rule violation. Let's hover over the service appointment to see what the rule violation is. Rule violations will be noted on the bottom of the box. As you can see, it shows that the service appointment requires a flatbed, yet we moved the appointment to a wheel lift vehicle. Remember, at the beginning, I mentioned that rule violations will usually occur as a result of manual scheduling. This is exactly what just happened. At this point, you can either move the service appointment back to driver number 3, or you can see if there are any other candidates. For this example, we'll look for candidates. To do so, we'll click on the service appointment in the exception panel. Before we click on candidates, let's look at a useful button. Here is the Gantt button. This button is going to be very helpful to you when there are several service appointments on the Gantt chart. By clicking on the button, the service appointment will blink on the Gantt chart so you can easily locate it. Let's see how that works. If you don't see the Gantt button, then you will need to expand the exception panel by dragging the sidebar. Let's continue now on looking for a qualified candidate for this service appointment to remove the rule violation. To do so, we'll click on the Candidates button. As you can see, the best candidate is actually driver number 3. Notice that no other drivers were an option. This is because this is a flatbed tow. And driver number 1 and 2 are light service vehicles, and driver number 4 has a wheel lift vehicle. Remember, field service is rating the drivers based on the driver's proximity to our member, and the vehicle's skill set. Let's select driver number 3. And, click on the Schedule button. Notice that the service appointment has been moved back to driver number 3. And, the rule violation symbol is no longer on the service appointment. Also, notice that the service appointment is no longer on the exception panel. This is because the rule violation has been resolved. This is why it is critical that you do not manually move service appointments. Field service will route the service appointment to the appropriate vehicle based on who can get there the fastest with the least amount of travel, and with the correct vehicle skills, in our example, meaning, a flatbed. Let's look at another example of a rule violation. There may be times when a driver is working on a service appointment, and the tow destination gets changed once the driver is on location with our member. In our example, the new tow destination will require longer tow time. Watch what happens to the Gantt chart when the new tow destination is entered into field service by the driver. Notice that not only did a rule violation symbol appear on the tow appointment, but the longer tow time has encroached into driver number 4's break. Let's dissect this, one issue at a time. First, let's start by looking at the rule violation. Notice the overlapping resource absence, rule violation, at the bottom. Meaning that the tow appointment is overlapping into the driver's break. For our example, we will simply move driver number 4's break, so that he can take his break after the tow is completed. Before we move the driver's break, let's look at another item. Notice that the rule violation is only on the tow appointment and not on the breakdown appointment. The reason for this is because the rule violation only pertains to the tow appointment. Also notice, while on the To-Do, AAA custom filter, the rule violation did not appear on the exception panel. The reason for this is that rule violations will only appear on the exception panel up until the driver changes their status to on location. Once on location, any rule violations that occur will only be displayed on the service appointment in the Gantt chart. Next, notice that driver number 4 already has a service appointment waiting for them. We know that the driver needs to take a break after their current appointment is completed, so let's see how field service will resolve this dilemma. As a dispatcher, you can move the driver's break so they take it after their tow is completed and cleared. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll simply move the break by clicking on it and dragging it. Notice that the rule violation symbol has disappeared from the tow appointment. And the scheduled appointment has been moved by field service to driver number 3. These are just a few examples of rule violations. If you encounter others, refer to the manual to learn how to address them. As a note, there are going to be rule violations that you simply can't resolve. But you should try to resolve all rule violations that you can. Remember, let field service schedule the service appointments. As a dispatcher, your priority is to manage the spotted calls, and jeopardy violations, and rule violations.